Hello and good evening to all of you. How are you all doing on this Sunday evening? If you are a sports fan, then I'm sure you're excited because there is not just the third T20 international to be played between India and England. There's also Wimbledon final, and I know there's someone here who's just as excited as you are and as I am for the Wimbledon final. Nikhil Narayan's here with me. We'll talk about the third T20I. We'll also talk about India's attacking approach, Rishabh Pant, the opener, Virat Kohli's lack of form, and a lot more right here on this show. But first, before we begin, please put in your comments in our comments section to let us know that you're watching, to ask us questions if you have any, to tell us who you're supporting today, not just in cricket but also in Wimbledon. Just start putting in your comments, Nikhil. But attacking approach for India working once again for them, and it really looks like now this is the way forward for this Indian team.
This is the way forward, and why not? You know, if you see the record since the 2021 World T20, India has played 18 T20Is, Meha. They have won 15 of them. They won 15, most of them under the leadership of Rohit Sharma, but some not. But the common thing in all those matches is that India has gone after the bowling in the first 6 overs, and now they are going after the bowling even beyond. That's what they did in Southampton. Yesterday they could not because they lost wickets in between the 5th and the 7th over. But they are definitely going after the bowling at the cost of losing wickets in the power play. 61 yesterday in Birmingham, 66 in Southampton. This is the way forward. They want to maximize the fielding restrictions, and this is, it is a high-risk strategy, but a balanced high-risk strategy. It's worked wonders for England, who have been off the boil in the last 5 matches, losing 4. But this is the way going forward. 180 is only par. And India, the Indian team is one of the few teams in the world which has the luxury and the depth in the batting lineup to do this.
That's right. So you take a look at that attacking template now. Rich dividends going all out, going all out in the first 6 overs. It's working wonders for this Indian team. Though the question now for all of you and for Nikhil is that when it doesn't come off, Nikhil, it'll look ugly. Why I'm saying this is that there was very little difference in getting to 170 and getting all out to 120. Right. You had Dinesh Karthik walk in the 11th over when you want him to be batting in the last 5 overs, preferably, right? So, I mean, those things need to be cleared out as well. The world needs to be able to digest the fact that there will be days when India will get out for much lesser than what they have.
Absolutely. It's all about percentages. If out of every 10 matches, you can do this in 6 to 7. I mean, even if you collapse for 120 in the remaining 3 and lose, you'll take it. It's very much like baseball in England, right? Yeah. They are going after victory in Test cricket at the cost of losing. They did that against New Zealand. They did that against India. And some of the matches they will collapse and lose, even their frame batting order. And India is doing exactly the same thing. They will collapse. Yesterday they almost collapsed. If not for Ravindra Jadeja, we would have made 120. But
correct.
But also it does not mean that you have to play reckless cricket. You attack, but if you lose wickets, you need to sort of go back to rotating the strike, rebuild the innings, which Jadeja did initially yesterday before he provided the impetus at the death.
In fact, take a look at that, India's attacking template now. When you see this, one of the clear things that we have seen is that since the last World Cup in 2021 in the UAE, that template has completely changed for India. Power plays is when they like to attack. We've seen a complete change also in the way they've gone about, not just their approach, but the numbers as well, Nikhil, where, far more conservative before and in that World Cup. Since then, their average has improved in the power plays. And what we also see now is that everybody, you could be 89 for 5, but the next person in will come and attack from the word go.
Absolutely. See, look at India's run rate, 8.86 in the power play in the 18 matches post the 2021 T20 World Cup, which is the highest amongst all countries in the world, even higher than England, who started this, England started this template of, going all out in the first 6 overs in both the formats, 50 overs and T20. India are beating them at their own game now because India have the batting depth. Even yesterday, I mean, although Virat Kohli got out for 1, even Virat Kohli, if you notice, didn't try to play his anchor innings. Of the 3rd ball, he tried to, go after the bowling. his bad luck that he failed. But everyone is going after, I mean, they have been asked to go after the bowling at the cost of sacrificing the wicket.
Virat Kohli. We start talking about Virat Kohli and we don't know at what point will this lack of runs for Virat Kohli, when will this come to an end? This phase which has gone on for far too long. I don't know whether he can really get back to form, get back to scoring runs when he has to start hitting the very first ball that he faces. Even yesterday, just wildly swinging, trying to go for a big shot, top edging, and then backward point. Most days that catch would have been dropped, but yesterday he's caught. And you wonder, there are a couple of things now for Virat Kohli. Yesterday, the talk was around, is Virat Kohli going to open, right? Because that was the other thing. Virat Kohli not getting runs in the middle overs. Do you want to try him to open? They've done it for RCB. Will they do it for this Indian team? One thing the team management has made very clear is that Virat Kohli is not in their scheme of things when it comes to opening. They do not want him to open. That's one thing that has been cleared for all of us. Rishabh Pant opening is what they want. So they know that they want also a left-right combination. That's something that Indian team's big on right now under Rohit Sharma. They want Rishabh Pant to open because of that as well. But what they've also said now is that Virat Kohli in their World Cup plans stays in the middle order. Now, with this aggressive approach, Nikhil, the big question is, where does he fit in? Because you have aggressive, in the middle order, you would want people to continue with that that style of play. You want your finishers to be, as aggressive as your openers. Virat Kohli, his batting, and I know he's fantastic. He's a modern day legend, no doubt about it. But in this style of play, in this style of cricket, Virat Kohli's place, where does he fit in?
I mean, he has to bat at number 3. There is no other position, Meha. 1 of 3 in Birmingham perished, like 4 other batsmen who were playing attacking shots. But there's no other option but to play him at 3 because, where else can you play him? Number 4 is Surya, number 5 is, there's Jadeja, there is Pant. So where do you play? But the problem is his numbers are shocking. His numbers in the IPL 2022 were shocking. His numbers in T20Is have gone down. There's a middle over strike rate problem. So there are all sorts of problems. Also, now what has happened is, with the IPL, and India has so much talent, and India has, India's bench strength is stronger than the national 11 of most teams, at least the batting, even the bowling for that matter.
Sure.
And how do you keep someone of the caliber of Deepak Hooda out, which we did yesterday, because Virat Kohli had to be fitted in. Now,
and the kind of form Deepak Hooda is in
IPL, T20Is, 4 T20Is for India. So now we are playing on reputation rather than current form, which is a problem. It doesn't set a good precedent. So what do Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma do? It's a big problem for India. Virat Kohli doesn't have much time, but then reports are suggesting he's resting from the West Indies T20I tour, which is shocking in a way. How is he resting? We don't have 20 T20Is before the World Cup in Australia. So, I don't know what is happening. I don't know what is happening backdoor, what the backroom, talk between Rahul and Virat is, if there's any talk. I mean,
I do believe, though, that for Virat Kohli, the best format right now is ODIs, where you don't have, Test cricket, you don't have the slips waiting for you in conditions that we saw in England. You're worried about your form. You're not in that state of mind where you're just completely, at ease, just confident about yourself. You want to get a few balls to settle it. I feel like ODI series is the best way to go, and that's why it was disappointing for me to see Virat Kohli asking for rest for the ODI series against the West Indies. That would have been perfect because, I mean, you have a lot of former players are suggesting all kinds of things, rightfully so. Everybody has an opinion on Virat Kohli, even we do, but they're saying that he should take rest. He should, go to the Himalayas. He should, I don't know, wherever else. People are suggesting all kinds of things.
He is taking rest now.
Yeah. But my thing is that how do you come back to form by taking rest, especially at a time when your position in that World Cup team is is not easy.
So that's what we are not privy to. Maybe his position is not under threat because of his past records. Maybe he's guaranteed that he will play at number 3 at least till this World Cup. Come what may. Deepak Hooda may score 10 centuries in a row, but Virat Kohli will play at 3. Unfair, but maybe that's the brief.
Okay, maybe that is what it is. But then at the end of the day, how do you decide whether Virat Kohli will be there if he's not even playing? What if whoever else who plays in his absence ends up doing much better, which Deepak Hooda has done, which Suryakumar Yadav's done, which Shreyas Iyer has done. But this is a big one now for the Indian team management to figure out as to Virat Kohli's problem with lack of runs. What are they going to do looking ahead to the T20 World Cup? Okay, but the good news is that Ravindra Jadeja, who came back in place of Akshar Patel, he scored runs, and it was because of Ravindra Jadeja's innings that we saw India get to 170. How important was that innings, given that India were 89 for 5? And this just means that India are in a good position now with Jadeja being in this kind of batting form. We saw that in red ball cricket, but white ball cricket as well now.
Absolutely. Jadeja, the batsman, may have transformed since that knock at the Oval in 2018 in Test cricket. His numbers across formats since that knock have been phenomenal.
Correct.
He is, one of the best all-rounders in the world in international cricket, not only Test cricket. Also, if you remember in the IPL 2020 for CSK, he assumed this new avatar, which was, a hitter. Correct. For the first time, he became a hitter for them, coming in the low order. We all know what he did with Harshal Patel. So, Ravindra Jadeja, 232 runs in that IPL I was talking about. That's an overall strike rate in that IPL, not only that over strike rate of 172. That was phenomenal. And since that IPL in 2020, he became a ferocious hitter in the lower order. And he's replicated that for India in a few innings in ODI cricket and to a very marginal extent in T20I cricket. He also hasn't sort of, showcased his best with the bat in T20Is till now. In ODIs he's done, Test cricket he's done, but he's not done it in T20Is. But I think now is the time. Yesterday was a fantastic knock. India would have bowled out for 120 if not for Jadeja's knock. Yeah. Not only did he held the innings together, but he took them to 170. He provided the impetus at the death. Yeah. So Jadeja, remains a vital cog. Akshar Patel, will be a replacement for Jadeja going forward. Jadeja will be in the 11, come what may.
And one thing that yesterday showed that Rishabh Pant couldn't get to a big score, but the kind of start they got was what they expected from their top order, from their openers, is that right now he's in that kind of form, that kind of mental frame that you can send him to bat at any place and he will end up scoring runs. Yesterday, some of those shots were incredible. And that just goes on to show the kind of form that he's in, and also just the amount of time he has in judging the length. Yeah. It's incredible. I mean, the commentators didn't have words to describe some of those shots.
Absolutely. I think, sending Rishabh Pant at the top of the order could be a master stroke for India if they persist with it. I don't know how will they fit in then KL Rahul when he comes back, because Rohit has to open. Because if you remember the careers of the great Sachin Tendulkar, that first innings against New Zealand, in Auckland, everything changed when he opened.
Yes.
After that, Rohit Sharma, middle order to opener, Virendra Sehwag, middle order to opener, everything changed. So Rishabh Pant could be a masterstroke. Fielding restrictions, he has all the shots. Yesterday he shot. I mean, it is a gamble worth taking. It is a gamble worth persisting with. And Rahul can also bat in the middle order. He does it successfully in ODI cricket. So why not T20I cricket? This is an interesting move by India.
Yeah, and the question is now today, what is India going to do? Will they play their top team? Will they give a chance to some of the players who are on the bench, because India have in fact taken an unassailable 2-0 lead in the series. So that's the big question. But I think they will stick to Rishabh Pant opening today as well. Yeah. Just want to give him enough matches to figure out where he fits in. But could this be a master stroke? Well, Sunil Gavaskar seems to think so. Former selector Jatin Paranjape seemed to think so. And yesterday a lot of people were talking about how this could be a big thing for India. But where does KL Rahul play? Then you'll put him in the middle order.
You put him at number what, 5? Why not?
Way down for him?
ODI bats at 5. He has the shots to play the aggressor in the lower order. I mean, because Surya has to play at 4. Surya, I'm not changing the 360 degrees player. He's our AB de Villiers. Surya has to play at 4. Let's see Virat Kohli. That number 3 position is still up for grabs. I mean, we don't know what is happening with the number 3 position.
So who goes out then? If KL Rahul comes back in, he goes into the middle order. Who goes out?
See, number 3, assuming it's Virat Kohli, there's no Deepak Hooda in the 11. There's no Deepak Hooda. Number 4 is Surya. Number 5 is, let's say, KL Rahul. Then number 6 is Jadeja. Or number 6 is Hardik, 7 Jadeja, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And Dinesh Karthik?
Yeah, Dinesh Karthik, then it's a big problem. Yeah, I mean, which is the problem?
But what I'm trying to say is also, even yesterday, you're 89 for 5, and who do you have in the middle? Ravindra Jadeja and Dinesh Karthik. In a way, that's great.
Yeah.
In a way, it is great. So, India, will they go for that kind of an approach where they might go in with a bowler light with Hardik Pandya being there? That's another interesting thing that they will look to do. But right now, this attacking approach is working, and Indian team very sure of how they want to go about it. Even yesterday when they kept losing wickets, and they did at regular intervals, and you know, somehow Indian team decided to just fall in pairs. Wickets were falling in pairs for them. They continued with that approach. Mid-innings, you felt 170. That may not be enough for India, but then in come India's new ball bowlers. How fantastic have the new ball bowlers been, specifically Bhuvneshwar Kumar?
Absolutely brilliant. No, he's reinvented himself. We were having discussion, I remember, during the South Africa series, when we were in South Africa and he didn't have a great match in the limited over series, and we said maybe this is the end of Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Correct.
But he's again reinvented himself. He's swinging the new ball, seaming the new ball. He's setting batsmen up. Joss Buttler has no clue. He's dismissed Joss Buttler in both the matches. And Joss Buttler was the same Buttler who won 800 plus runs in the IPL. I mean, he was going great guns. So, and then, I mean, Jason Roy, I don't know what he's doing in the team, but Bhuvneshwar Kumar with the new ball currently, according to me at least, is the best new ball bowler in limited overs cricket with the new ball. His numbers are phenomenal. He's India's highest wicket taker since 2021 in T20I cricket. Also, if you see his economy rate, he's always been a very restrictive bowler. Overall in T20Is, he's the most restrictive pacer in the history of the format, and he's been playing since, you know, the inception of the format. So his power play numbers are absolutely incredible, second only to Bumrah in T20I history. So Bhuvneshwar Kumar, my only problem is, and this is a question, you know, in Australia, the ball doesn't swing and seam. And Bhuvneshwar goes at 125, 130. So what happens?
Frankly, the white ball doesn't. He was quite surprised with the way the white Kookaburra was swinging in England in the 2 matches. He said it in the post-match presentation that he was really surprised by how much it was swinging. But for all of you, the news toss update from Nottingham is that England have won the toss and they've opted to bat first. They did field in the last game, and you know how that turned out. They've opted to bat first. I've got the team list as well, and I will take you through that. It's open on my phone. So Rohit Sharma, the captain, of course, Virat Kohli very much in, Surya Kumar Yadav, Rishabh Pant, Shreyas Iyer. So Shreyas Iyer is in. Surya Kumar Yadav is there, Shreyas Iyer is in, Dinesh Karthik is in, Ravindra Jadeja, Harshal Patel, Avesh Khan, Umran Malik and Ravi Bishnoi. So lots of changes then for the Indian team. Hardik Pandya, he sits out for the game today. There is Shreyas Iyer who's come in, Ravindra Jadeja stays there, Harshal Patel, Avesh Khan is in place of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Umran Malik is in, Yuzvendra Chahal sits out, Ravi Bishnoi is in. And how do you look at so many changes now for this team?
I mean, not surprising. They won the series. You know, from what I understand, this series and the West Indies series, they want to finalize that squad of, you know, 12 to 13 who will, you know, the 11 will be selected from that 12 or 13.
Correct.
So, you know, not surprising. They want to give Umran Malik, Ravi Bishnoi a chance before they finalize the 11 and 12. So, you won the series, why not?
Yeah. Okay, so for all of you who are just joining us here, the news from Nottingham is that England have won the toss. They have opted to bat first. I've got the team sheet here with me. Rohit Sharma, the captain, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav. There are a few changes. We'll take you through that. Hardik Pandya has been rested. Shreyas Iyer comes in. Rishabh Pant, the wicket keeper. Dinesh Karthik stays in, the finisher. Ravindra Jadeja is there, Harshal Patel, Avesh Khan, Umran Malik and Ravi Bishnoi. So which means that you don't have Bumrah, you don't have Bhuvneshwar Kumar, you don't have Yuzvendra Chahal. In place of them, you've got Avesh Khan, Umran Malik, Ravi Bishnoi, Hardik Pandya is rested. So 3 pacers.
Yeah, correct.
3 pacers, Ravi Bishnoi, your spinner, Ravindra Jadeja, all-rounder, and yeah. So those are the changes for this team.
Yeah, but test for India's bowling bench today. They're not playing their main 3 weapons with the ball. So it's a test for Avesh, Umran, Bishnoi, and also important innings for Shreyas Iyer because, after that brilliant series against Sri Lanka, he just went off the boil, bit in the IPL. So he's not been, and the problem for him is unfortunately his direct competition is with Surya. Surya and Shreyas both can't fit in the 11. I mean, there's only 11 people in play. So, important innings for Shreyas Iyer.
Okay, so this is what Rohit Sharma had to say at the toss. He says we would have fielded first, had batted first twice, wanted to chase at least once. So he's getting all his wishes granted. 4 changes for us: Ravi Bishnoi, Avesh Khan, Umran Malik and Shreyas Iyer are in, as I said. They replace Bhuvi, Bumrah, Chahal and Hardik. We don't want to miss out on the winning confidence, but there are a few things we want to have a look at before the World Cup. So the changes, we're excited for Umran, want to wish him the best and give him confidence. Now, India play, I think, 15 matches before the T20 World Cup.
Correct, okay.
So that's all the time that you have in trying to figure out what your best combination is going to be. And keeping that in mind, keeping the fact that there are a lot of senior players who will be rested in the days to come, in the series to come, only fair that in a dead rubber like this, you end up giving an opportunity to some of these other players who've been warming the bench.
Absolutely. Only fair. You have to finalize your, 12 or 13 in the by the end of the West Indies series. And bowlers like Umran Malik are very important, especially in Australia on those hard decks. Umran Malik could be a trump card. I mean, we all saw what he did in the middle overs in the IPL.
Correct.
Either picking up heaps of wickets or not picking wickets at all. Very hot or very cold. But if you can do that 3 or 4 times, you're winning us 3 or 4 matches. Correct. So Umran Malik, I think, will be one of our main bowlers. I think he'll get a few matches in T20 World Cup. Therefore, it's important to give him enough matches before Australia.
So for all of you who are joining us now, England have won the toss. They've opted to bat first. Rohit Sharma at the toss saying that he's happy with that. They would want to chase given that they batted first in both the matches. A lot of changes for the Indian team. They are trying a new combination today. Umran Malik is in. Ravi Bishnoi gets a game. Yuzvendra Chahal sitting out of this one. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he's sitting out, the man of the match from the last match. There is also Jasprit Bumrah who's being rested. Avesh Khan is in. Harshal Patel is in. Umran Malik. These are their 3 fast bowlers. Shreyas Iyer, he is also come into the side. The other players in the team remain the same. Now, important thing is you already spoke about how the bowlers need to do well, but this is a huge opportunity for Shreyas Iyer as well. Why? Because every time he's got an opportunity, Nikhil, he's done well. We've had these conversations where, especially in white ball cricket, he's done what is asked of him, and he's also, one big change that I've seen in him is that he's also attacking a lot more. He's playing the same brand of cricket that they want to play, but it almost always seems like it's a competition between him and Suryakumar Yadav, and every time Suryakumar Yadav pips him in that competition. So these opportunities that Shreyas Iyer gets, these are very important.
Absolutely. See, the thing is only 11 can play, and it's either Surya or Shreyas at number 4. Unless Shreyas bags the number 3 spot, which is a different conversation altogether.
Right.
But Surya can do everything which Shreyas can, but at a higher scoring rate. So therefore, I mean, it's unfortunate. Shreyas will walk into the 11th of most teams, but
correct.
Suryakumar Yadav just has that X factor. He can win you. He can do a 40 of 20 in almost every second match. Shreyas may not be able to do against the better opposition. He does against Sri Lanka, but against Australia, England, South Africa, there might be a problem.
Correct.
So although he's in great form, he's changed his game, he's become more attacking, but Surya is just better. That's the way
The other thing, as we were saying, they want to try Rishabh Pant as the opener, so he's very much there. Virat Kohli gets the opportunity again, given that there are reports now coming that Virat Kohli could be rested for not just the ODI series in the West Indies, but also the T20I series right after that. So it looks like Virat Kohli right now will be given as many opportunities before he is rested. But India will continue to go with this attacking template. Are you surprised by how England have played, given that they were coming off this momentum, you know, which of the Test win in Edgbaston, but you're seeing a very timid England batting? I mean, this batting looks fearsome on paper, haven't been able to do anything.
A little surprised they've lost 4 of their last 5 T20Is, but also remember it's a regime change there. You know, Josh Buttler is the new captain.
Yeah.
I mean, Ian Morgan was a great limited overs captain. He led the transformation after the 2015 World Cup debacle in Australia for England. So I think it will take time, but there's no reason why England should not, you know, do well under Josh Buttler. There's no reason at all. Also, you know, Johnny Bairstow has to come back, Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer. It's a phenomenal team they have for limited overs cricket. So England will bounce back, not in this match, but England will be one of the, you know, teams to fear in the World T20.
Absolutely. So that's the news that we are getting. The update on the toss is that England have won the toss. They have, in fact, they've opted to bat first. India have made changes. This is a dead rubber for them. They've already won the series. So 4 changes for the Indian team. Man of the match from last match, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he's rested. Jasprit Bumrah, who he's rested as well. Avish Khan is in. Umran Malik, he's in the squad. Ravi Bishnoi has come in place of Yuzvendra Chahal, and Hardik Pandya has also been rested. They've got Shreyas Iyer, who's come in place of him. So that's the change for the Indian team. What do you make of those changes? Do let us know, Nikhil. But just coming back to now Rahul Dravid's approach, what is the difference that you've seen in his coaching since the time he's taken over?
Across formats?
From Ravi Shastri to Rahul Dravid.
I mean, I think, you know, Rahul believes more in process. Rahul will not make, you know, any radical changes. So that's Virat Kohli being dropped, I don't think will happen under Rahul Dravid. It cannot happen. I mean, Rahul Dravid will not make that move. Even if that move is made, it will be Rohit Sharma's call. Rahul Dravid, you know, he believes in change, but it has to be a process which, you know, sort of lasts over a period of time.
Correct.
Dravid hasn't had a great, you know, he has a bit of a mixed bag. India has done well in these bilateral ODI series, T20I series, but also India has lost 2 of the big matches. The South Africa test match, the Birmingham test against England. So it's a, you know, Ravi was, I think, more, you know, I think Ravi is the better man manager. I think I've never seen any coach, Indian coach, who was a better man manager than Ravi Shastri. Absolutely great skills to inspire people, you know, more flamboyant. Rahul is more understated. Personally, for me, I think Rahul makes a great under-19 coach. Too early to judge whether his personality, not the individual, but the personality of Rahul Dravid suits the national coaching or not. I personally like the Ravi Shastri brand of coaching, the personality for the Indian cricket team, given the kind of personalities, Generation X players, T20 superstars we have. Rahul Dravid, I personally prefer the NCA under 19. Very old school, traditional, but you know, he's at the helm. Let's see where it goes.
Absolutely. I think now honeymoon is over, definitely, for Rahul Dravid after what we saw in Edgbaston. I mean, there will be questions now asked. You are, at the end of the day, coaching the Indian team. This is not the under-19 team. This is not the India A team. And as Ravi Shastri said, that you've got to develop a very thick skin to become the coach of the Indian team. And yeah, it's not going to be easy. There is a World Cup this year. There is an ODI World Cup next year. Rahul Dravid, a lot of difficult selection decisions that need to be made. You know, some of the senior players, they have to take decisions on. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. But what do you think? Do you think India are going to win today as well? The other thing, is the way India won. 50 runs in the first game, 49 runs in this game in a T20 match.
Massive. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like winning by 100 runs plus in a one-day international. And that too against the second best team in the world. England are ranked number 2. You know, it's been a brilliant performance. Batting and you know, we are not giving the bowlers enough credit. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Yuzvendra Chahal we haven't spoken about. You know, he's taken crucial wicket in the middle overs in both the matches. But we expect him to do well now. I think he's by far the best limited over spinner, leg spinner at least in the world. I think he just beats Vanindu Hasaranga also, who I think is second best. But you know, batting, bowling, India, this team now, see, the only thing which eludes this Indian team is an ICC trophy. We last won in 2013 in England. It's been 9 years, and that's why Rohit Sharma was made captain. I think it's coming home in October, November. I don't want to jinx it.
Don't jinx it then. The other thing also is with India after the World Cup, the post-mortem of the World Cup defeat, what happened, what went wrong. One thing that stood out for us was that India, despite the good bowling attack that they have, great pacers, but what seemed to be happening at that point was that India weren't getting enough wickets in the power plays. That was a big problem. That seems to have changed with Bhuvneshwar Kumar's comeback as well. Since Sri Lanka in March, he's taken 10 wickets in the power play at an economy of 5. And that seems to, that seems to have come together with India's change of fortune in the power play overs.
Absolutely. It was a major problem for India. Bumrah was not taking wickets in the power play in ODIs and in T20Is. And India was, at the receiving end in those matches. With Kumar now coming, it's a relief for Bumrah. It takes the pressure off Bumrah. Also, Arshdeep Singh is now an option. He's the one match he was given, he's taken wickets with the new ball, left armour variety. So it's very, very crucial that this continues. And I think Bumrah is too good a bowler. I think he'll come back. There was this phase of, I think it's almost been 2 years when he's been little off the boil with the new ball in limited overs, not in test cricket. But I think Bumrah is also now going to come back. And Bumrah, Bhuvneshwar, Arshdeep, it's a phenomenal, trio with the new ball.
The other thing being, we've got to talk a little bit also about Rohit Sharma's captaincy. Yet again yesterday, just the way he rotated the bowlers, knew exactly where to place the field, the fielders. You got a feeling he knows, like he's just so intuitive when it comes to what to do on the field. And he does have that same kind of astute cricketing brain like Mahendra Singh Dhoni. You can see that, and that's the difference. You saw, it makes such a huge difference when you have a captain on the field who knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks ahead, like a chess game. So he's not a reactive captain.
Correct.
The thing with Kohli is, Kohli was a reactive captain, although he had great results for India, but he was a reactive captain. Not a strategist per se. Dhoni was a strategist. So is Rohit Sharma. And those records, those numbers speak for themselves. I mean, since he took over as full-time captain, 16 wins in a row across formats, and then in T20I some 19 wins in a row, only
something
after
like
behind Ricky Ponting. So Rohit Sharma, whatever. Another thing was that I think we've said this before in a show, when we lost the Birmingham Test under Jasprit Bumrah, when we lost the South Africa series under Rahul and Virat Kohli, when we drew the T20I series in India against South Africa under Rishabh Pant, but under Rohit Sharma we have won everything. So the moral of the story, please let Rohit Sharma captain till the end of the 2023 World Cup. Let's get 2 ICC trophies and then give it to Hardik Pandya.
Okay, now what are the changes for the England team? We'll also tell you that. Jos Buttler at the toss said he will bat first, and that they also just want to look for a change up, and it is one of the best wickets, by the way. A lot of runs will be scored. So all these new bowlers, India's bench strength today. Let's see how they are going to fare today. 2 changes for England: Reece Topley and Phil Salt are in. Salt will bat at 4. Parkinson and Sam Curran, they miss out. And Jos Buttler also saying looks like a brilliant surface, and there's still a lot of confidence in their side. Though I don't know how correct that is, because I think with this kind of loss, not just in this match but in the first game as well, England, I mean, this would have dented their confidence.
I mean, a bit, but this is the same England team since 2016. See their record in limited overs cricket. It is absolutely phenomenal. So yes, it's a bit of a sort of a setback, losing by big margins to India in the year of the World T20.
Correct.
But Joss Butler, he'll be disappointed because, and I think he'll come out all guns blazing today because under his captaincy, new captain, he wouldn't want a 0-3 sweep by India. And given the form he was in, I mean, Joss Butler, the way he was batting in the IPL, people were worried. So I think Joss Butler today, watch out for Joss Butler. Today there's no Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
Yes.
So, this Umran Malik and company could be in for a tough first 6 overs.
Also, Hardik Pandya, to manage Hardik Pandya from here on, we know what Hardik Pandya can do when he's bowling well, he's getting wickets. We saw what he did in the first match. But Hardik Pandya's workload will need to be managed. He is fragile. We've spoken about it, needs to be wrapped in cotton wool and kept. We need Hardik Pandya, the bowler, as well. Going forward, they'll have to strike a balance between how many games he gets to play and how much rest he needs. Because at the end of the day, you don't want him undercooked and you don't want him overcooked going into the World Cup.
And, the Indian schedule allows, players like Hardik Pandya to be given enough rest. So, like, he can be given rest for the West Indies ODIs, but you play him for the T20Is. He doesn't need to play Zimbabwe. No one needs to play Zimbabwe. But he plays Australia when they're coming for a limited over series, and then he plays the World T20. Asia Cup, he should play. So, you need to pick and choose which games does a player of the caliber of Hardik Pandya, who seems to be, everything he touches is turning gold. Also a future captain for India. But the tricky thing for India, not right now, but after the World T20 would be, how does he play Test cricket? Because the demands for Test cricket are, physical demand, mental demand, emotional demand, especially if he has to play as an all-rounder, which I think, and he will play Test cricket. I mean, he's too talented not to play Test cricket. He would want to play Test cricket. But that's a question for another day after the World T20.
It's amazing right now. We're talking about Virat Kohli and whether he's going to find a place in this side. One person who seems to have assured his place so far, I mean, of course, things change so quickly in Indian cricket that, no, Dinesh Karthik.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, look at what the kind of comeback that he's made. That not only have you made a comeback, people around you are getting shifted and, are being rested. And Dinesh Karthik seems like the only finisher right now India have zeroed in on. They're like, we are going to get Dinesh Karthik to play the World Cup. He's our finisher.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the timing was perfect for Dinesh Karthik. Firstly, he was brilliant for RCB when the big three failed. Then, in the same IPL, Jadeja failed. So, India were worried, who's our finisher? In the same IPL, Hardik Pandya did well, but at number 4. So, India wasn't sure whether Hardik Pandya is his hitter. So, it worked brilliantly for Dinesh Karthik timing. Now, Jadeja is doing well. And Hardik is also, regaining his hitting prowess in the death over. So, now we have 3 finishers. And therefore, Rishabh Pant can play his role. 5
impactful knocks by Dinesh Karthik
6,
in this.
At least, I think around 5 to 6.
5 to 6 is all that it took. But I think it was also the way he went about finishing some of those games where you felt like nothing was impossible. You knew that he could chase down anything that would come in his way. And I think that just opened up everybody's eyes and they thought, okay, this is it. This is now the approach that you need in the future. And it wasn't just the Indian team. I'm sure the others must have watched it as well. I also feel one of the things is, Nikhil, that the way he's spoken about finishing, the way he's trained for it, We've had these conversations during the IPL where we've talked about how he's trained specifically to just hit every ball out of the park, how he can maintain that strike rate of 200 plus. He's trained specifically. So I feel like now, in the coming future, I won't be surprised if T20 cricket becomes about specialist openers, specialist middle order, and specialist finishers. Very specific job of what you need to do, how the bowlers are going to bowl at you in the death overs, how you can hit them out of the park.
Absolutely. And with this retiring out thing starting, I mean, it may be like Rohit Sharma, first 6 overs, retire out. Then Surya Kumar Yadav, retire out. Death overs, Dinesh Karthik. Why not? I mean, perfect. Why not? You maximize, those phases of play with the best batsmen. I think it's great.
And I also feel like there is now no place for accumulator in T20 cricket. It almost accumulator in the sense of, the anchor role, the so-called anchor. You're either an aggressor, or you're an enforcer, or you're a finisher.
Absolutely.
I think middle overs is enforcer. There is no anchor because increasingly I get the feeling that every time I see a T20 match where you're 155 for 5 at the end of 20 overs, I would not want that. I would rather want your batsman to get to 177 for 8 wickets or something.
Absolutely.
Instead of, you know, what are you preserving your wicket for?
Absolutely. I mean, the only thing is, if it's a wicket where cloudy conditions, bouncing a lot, very, very rare in T20.
Correct.
Doesn't happen anywhere.
Correct.
But if on that sort of a wicket, these very aggressive type batsmen will have to adjust their game. And most of these batsmen can. But those are very rare. I mean, 90 out of 100 times you will get belters across the world in T20 cricket. That's the norm. And therefore, the role of an accumulator is, you know, it's almost null and void now.
Okay. So, interesting conversation. What do you think of it? Do let us know in the comments section below. Also, tell us, who do you think will win today? Will it be India? Will it be a clean sweep for the Indian team? I think they would want that, given how they lost in the Test series as well. Also, you know, I'm excited to watch Umran Malik, Ravi Bishnoi, you know, how the younger group of pace bowlers, how will they be bowling along with Ravi Bishnoi? It'll be interesting. Thank you so much, Nikhil. And do News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. Also, Wimbledon's on. So I think we'll have one match on our phones and one probably on the laptop, because there is an interesting match that is being played. The big Wimbledon final between Nick Kyrgios and Novak Djokovic, the two villains of world tennis. Okay, enjoy your Sunday, and to come back tomorrow, we'll let you know the time. News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. Bye.